Welcome back to part 2 of What If NBA Moments, where we will revisit some history-altering events that will underline just how impactful the playoffs are to the association and the game we all love. Crucial calls not only add drama to the story, but sometimes it becomes the story of the series, and sometimes even bigger than that. Now let's go to an iconic shot. Actually, probably the most iconic shot in NBA history. The picture-perfect shot to end an era. Of course, I'm talking about Michael Jordan's last shot while shoving Brian Russell. Let's do this in slow-mo for a second. Just look at the faces of all those Jazz fans just agonizing in pain for the inevitable. Some in denial, some are trying to be nonchalant. But we all know what's coming. A beautiful portrait that encapsulates how his airness dominated the 90s. But what if this never happened? Yes, I'll get to the push-off in a few seconds, but how about the other plays that favored the Bulls in this game? Let's go back to earlier in the game where Howard Isley clearly fired and hit a three before the shot clock expired in the second quarter, where Utah could have gone up 7 points. To add salt to the wound, in the crucial moments of the fourth quarter, with less than 5 minutes to go, Ron Harper made a running jump shot that, in review, didn't quite get out of his fingertips before the shot clock expired. Of course, we all know that cameras and replays were not as crisp back then as they are now. But still, what is really off-putting about Harper's shot is it wasn't even reviewed. The refs just acted as if there was nothing to check when it was so similar to the play they called earlier. Overall, this could have been a 5-point swing that should have given the Jazz extra cushion. Now add that to MJ's controversial push-off on Brian Russell, and you understand the gripe of Jazz fans even after decades. Looking back at this moment, it might have been a reach to say that a close Game 6 win versus MJ's Bulls could have turned the momentum around. But hey, we all saw what happened to the Dubs in 2016. Winners of Game 6 usually have all the momentum going into Game 7. But, well, even if we settle this by just agreeing that Jordan definitely pushed off and the league really wanted to give Jordan a moment for the ages, all that does is just confirm what we all know. MJ dominated the 90s like no one did, ever. Now let's go to an actual Game 7, shall we? It was the new millennium. Jordan was 99.9% certain that he would never play in the association again. The Chicago Bulls were no more, and the NBA needed a new team to bank on. Look no further than the Lakers. I mean, they have the most dominant big man, Shaquille O'Neal, and the second coming of Michael Jordan in Kobe, right? Or if you want to give it a more Lakers-flavored spin, the new Magic and Kareem, a big, dynamic guard and a dominant big. The perfect team to be the league's main attraction. And it became just that. But wait, one team is looking to play spoilers in the story. This series should have been over in 5 games after the Lakers led 3-1 in the series. But Pippen and then young all-star Rasheed Wallace refused to do just that, and instead, both had 22-point performances. And to snatch all the momentum in this series, the Blazers, with the in-season acquisition of Steve Smith, exploded for 26 points and took Game 6. Now our stage is set in the 2000 Western Conference Game 7. Of course, what we will mainly remember in this series is this majestic Kobe to Shaq alley-oop. But what actually made this moment so dramatic? The Blazers were actually up 16 with a few seconds left in the third. So what happened? Well, let's just say the crucial thing started to happen even before the third quarter. Arvydas Sabonis had 2 quick fouls early on, the same as his undersized backup Brian Grant. And to further expose whatever depth they had up front, young center Jermaine O'Neal was in foul trouble too. Even the announcers during the telecast can't help but notice the inconsistency in this game. Nonetheless, it is quite the physical Game 7. But now here we are in the fourth, and the Lakers are making a comeback. Yes, the Blazers were starting to get cold shooting, and the Lakers were starting to hit shots. But one other thing is also true. Whistles in this fourth period were blown more in the favor of the Lakers. Here's what happened. Pippen picked up his 4th. Then Sabonis got his 4th and 5th. A thing to note here is that they are Shaq and Kobe's primary defenders. Wallace then picked up another, and then Arvydas Sabonis got his 6th. Yep, Shaq's main defender fouled out in the most crucial moments of Game 7. At this moment, all momentum is in the Lakers' favor. Kobe blows past Scottie, lobs it to Shaq, and then Staples Center erupts, creating an iconic NBA moment. If you'll tell me this game was a game of execution, a contest of getting tough buckets after tough buckets, and the Portland Trail Blazers were outlasted at that, I might take that as that. But there's no arguing that the Lakers got helped by 37 free throws versus the Blazers' puny 16. Not to mention that for the most part, Shaq was guarded by a 6'8" Grant because the refs elected to sit down Portland's Arvydas Sabonis. Nonetheless, this is one fork-in-the-road moment in the early stages of yet again another Lakers dynasty. All right, this is a bit of a deep cut, and probably older fans might even say this is even a bigger controversy than how it's talked about. The Detroit Pistons were in the precipice of their first championship, leading the series 3-2 entering this game. The game went wire to wire with the Pistons holding on to a tiny 102-101 lead with less than 30 seconds left. As usual, the ball would and should go to the captain, especially in these crucial moments. And so the ball went to Kareem with 17 seconds left. Bill Laimbeer, the league's most hated villain, actually had a strong stance, and one could argue that the contact was actually minimal. And here is where the conversation starts. Was there really a foul? There was little to nothing of contact to warrant a foul, all the more to warrant a sixth foul. In the NBA, you know that referees are more judicious in giving the defenders a sixth foul, especially for a key player, and all the more especially in a highly contested game. On top of all that, didn't Kareem move his pivot foot just a little right there? The Lakers would, of course, take this series to 7 and eventually win it all. Say what you want, but this certainly is a game, a call, a moment in NBA history that would have rewritten how we remember the players involved. Also, since Isaiah and the Pistons won 2 straight after this finals loss, imagine if they actually got this one and still win the next 2. They'll be the first team to three-peat after the Celtics of the 50s. I don't know about you, but this call is an underrated controversial call indeed. Speaking of underrated history-altering calls, let's jump straight to Game 6 of the 2013 NBA Finals and talk about Ray Allen's shot. Everyone, even Miami fans, are already ready for the confetti to fall and the champagne to be popped. A few made free throws from the Spurs would have iced this game. Some solid defense for a few more seconds and then securing the board would have gotten the job done. But of course, that didn't happen. Instead, we get this. The iconic Ray Allen 3. So, what's to talk about? It was a clear miracle from the basketball heavens. Yeah, maybe. Or, if you want to get really technical, it's of course a tactical mistake from the Spurs end, not putting Tim Duncan in. Yeah, while that might be correct, that's really something subjective because you have to understand this is the height of the small ball lineup. Just in this closing play, you will see no one taller than 6'10". All I want to say is the absence of Tim Duncan in this final play is justified since the game emphasized skill and speed over size and strength down low. Or maybe it's the greatness of LeBron. Or credit Pat Riley for acquiring Ray Allen in the previous summer. Yep, all that is true and over the years has been discussed ad nauseum. But you know what's not talked about enough? Why are referees reviewing Ray Allen's 3 when their SOP, or at least their common way of doing reviews up to this point, is during timeout? This is why if you rewatch this game, you will see a furious Popovich. Instead of having a chance to steal a quick bucket, the officials' timeout only allowed the Heat to set up their defense and erase whatever Tony Parker had in his bag. The Heat will get the overtime win in this game and win Game 7 to give LeBron, D. Wade, and Chris Bosh their second championship. History altering? Definitely. Can you imagine LeBron having only won 1 championship up to this point? The verdict would have been so vile, and every chance to be in the GOAT conversation would just be a joke. I mean, we all get that this would have been his second loss to the Spurs, but more importantly, yet again, another meltdown versus an aging team. And how about Duncan and the Spurs winning another ring before the dawn of the Warriors? That would have been something. Controversial? On closer look, it probably is. One mistake or questionable call can change a whole lot, and that makes the NBA worth watching. But what do you think? Other crucial officiating? Let me know in the comment section, and feel free to like and subscribe for more basketball content.